Welcome to another episode of This Woman Works. I am your host, Mike Patton. And on this episode, we're kind of going across the pond to talk to someone that is very, very involved in a few things over there across the pond. That would be Miss Charlene Gravesande. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing great, doing great. We're going to get into you growing up, your story, what you're doing now. We're going to get into that. But of course, first, with every show, we open it up with the Black Girl Magic moment. And this moment I'm going to speak about, to me, is truly magical because of the resilience of a Miss Sha'Carri Richardson. Now, Sha'Carri Richardson, for those that don't remember, in 2021, she qualified for the 100 meters in the Olympics for the United States, but was disqualified because of THC. Well, let's give you the backstory. A reporter told her that her mother had died and she had no idea. And of course, the stress of that, things like that, THC, she did those things to kind of relax and cope with it. Of course, came back to haunt her in terms of qualifying for the Olympics. She didn't get the call. Could have potentially got the call to be on the 4x1 team. They decided against it. So things looked really down, all these different things happening to her at that time in 2021. But, eventually she fought back. She went out there and she left no doubts leading all the way up to the Olympic trials this year, where she went out there, she dominated, and she earned her spot on the 100-meter team of the 100-meter dash for the United States. I mean, I love the story that she could have given up with all these different things going against her, not even going to mention all the stuff off the track that people were talking about as well. But, she took all those different things and turned them around, and now she's going to the Olympics. She's doing the event she wanted to do, and she is truly the fastest woman in the world right now. I just had to show props to Sha'Carri Richardson, the Black Girl Magic moment of this episode. I don't know if you have anything you want to add or anything like that, Charlene.
Yeah, I do. Well, I think she's got two of the fastest 3 times recorded this year. And Sharika Jackson has got the other one. I have heritage Jamaica, but I do really like Sha'Carri Richardson. Her story of resilience is brilliant. Kind of feel like similar to mine. We will get into that in a bit, but yeah, props to her for her to overcome adversity from, being down and out in 2020. Obviously, it happened in 2021 at Tokyo Olympics, not being able to go, and now being the favorite to get gold in Paris. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I truly have to say I've enjoyed watching her ascendance from what happened to where she is now, and I've got to show nothing but props and love to her on that. But of course, that's the Black Girl Magic moment of this episode. But this show's about you. The show is about you. So I kind of want to go back to the beginning for you in terms of growing up. Where exactly did you grow up?
So, as your viewers will be able to tell and your listeners, I am from London, born and raised in London. I grew up in an area called Croydon. I'm not sure if anybody knows anything about that. It's not far from an area called Brixton. And I haven't really moved that far from my original place of residence. I'd say I probably have moved about 20 minutes away from where I actually grew up as a kid. And yeah, I've just always loved sports. I used to run the 100 and 200 meters in school when I ran for the Croydon Harriers. And then I kind of transitioned into the love of journalism. So I was really good at English, language and literature at school. And one of my favorite subjects was also PE. So I thought, how can I merge these two subjects together to get my ideal career? And sports journalist it was.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I got to ask, how was it growing up there? I don't know what the environment was or what just just the overall environment? I don't know what it was, but how was it growing up there?
Uh, I think I had a good childhood. I've got quite a big family, so I'm one of 6 girls, and then I have an older brother from my dad's side. So um, I had the protection from my sisters and had the wisdom from them. So I'm the second last.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel like I've always had that kind of community and somebody to always look out for me. The area, I wouldn't say it was very affluent, but I wouldn't say it was poor either. So I had a, semi middle class, uh, background. Um, yeah, that's it really.
Okay, so I've got to ask. I mean, you've got a bunch of sisters, and you're the
Hmm.
second to last, and a
Yeah.
brother. How was it kind of growing up with all of those around you? Kind of, I would say, be, I guess, someone that actually, kind of give you information and stuff like that, but also be looking over you every little thing you do. I know that had to
Yeah.
be somewhat the case.
Yeah. Um, there was a lot of, there was a lot of snitching, I have to admit. Like when you used to do things, get things wrong, they will always run to my mum and tell her. So that's one thing I didn't like. But in terms of like having somebody I could go to constantly, handing down of clothes, I never ever went without having things that, I wanted. Um, but yeah, like I really do think I had, just looking back, I do really do think I had a really good childhood, and I don't think I would change it.
Okay. All right. So I've got to ask, of course, everyone says they're doing now and tells me what they're doing now. But um, was, getting into sports and journalism the first thing you wanted to do, or was there something else that had your eye when you were growing up?
No, it wasn't actually. Although I have to say, just going back to what I was saying about doing the 100 and 200 meters, maybe my first love probably was to be an athlete. Um, but then I found out that I have a heart condition, so that was a no-go. So I kind of thought to myself where I could transition from the athlete to then telling athlete stories. So that's obviously where the sports journalism part came into it. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if I wasn't doing sports journalism and producing content for sports, I probably would have been an athlete. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get into a little bit more about, your heart condition and kind of the transition. But first, of course, we do have to take a commercial break on This Woman Works.
EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash are two of the best beard grooming products for men worldwide. They help promote growth, keep your beard moisturized and soft, and enhance your overall upkeep of your facial hair. And with the new promo code MPAFC10, you can get 10% off of these products. Just go to www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. Again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. And again, the promo code MPAFC10. Again, MPAFC10, where you can get 10% off any products except for beard boxes. So treat your beard better today by going to get these the EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash.
All right. And we are back on This Woman Works with Charlene Gravesande. Now, I want to ask, you did mention that, a heart condition kind of changes the trajectory of the things that you want to do growing up,
Mhm.
being an athlete. So what exactly was that moment like when you found out you had that heart ailment?
Yeah, so I didn't actually find out until I was, let me see, until I have to say quite recently, like the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was experiencing blackouts, I was experiencing heart palpitations, and the doctors couldn't really like work out what was going on. So every time I had an ECG, I'd have it for like 24 hours, sometimes 72 hours, and it just wasn't coming up on the results. So they needed to extend the length of time that I had the monitors and stuff on me. And then eventually they were able to see. It was really small. It was happening in fluctuations where most of the time it was happening at nighttime. So they couldn't really work out what was going on. So it's a heart condition called atrial tachycardia. So it means that my heart is beating at a rate that it shouldn't be beating at. So in order to get me to perform and be able to do my day-to-day, I take a beta blocker every morning. And since then, I've actually been fine.
Okay. All right. So, of course, take me to the moment where you kind of knew you want to make that transition from, being an athlete to actually covering athletes.
Oh gosh. Like I say, I've always loved PE. I've always loved sports. And at the time I was experiencing the physical elements of the heart condition, but I thought it was asthma, and so did the doctors. So they gave me a pump at the time. I felt fine, but it was becoming quite difficult to perform at a high level. So I was like, I really want to do this, but at what cost? So as I say, in terms of the storytelling, I loved, storytelling in terms of athletes, not just athletics, football, Formula One, you name it. I love all sports. And I thought, if I can't be an athlete, I would like to tell athlete stories in a way that is not only telling it from a high performative level, but also, the real human level. So I kind of feel like with journalists, people quite shy away from them because it always seems like they're trying to get a headline. Whereas when I'm trying to do content and interviewing individuals, I want to, how we're having a conversation now, get to know them on a personal level rather than just trying to get a scoop.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely building the relationship with somebody is always going to give you the better story other than trying to get, the scoop. Because the scoop, athletes can see that coming a mile away, whether people or reporters want to know that or not. But yeah, athletes can see that coming a mile away. So where did you first start when you actually went into journalism, or did you go to school and then go into journalism, or how did that kind of start for you?
So my degree is a Bachelor of Arts degree in Media and Cultural Studies with French. So it's a 4-year program, and in your 3rd year, you get to go to France. And I stayed in a place called Avignon, which is in the south of France, not far from Marseille. And I was one of the Erasmus students. So they had students come over from Spain, Italy, and the UK as well. So yeah, I lived in France for a year, and that's where I actually met my best friend, who we're still friends to this day. So I've known her for over 20 years. And yeah, from that, as I said, had a love for English, had a love for sports. So I actually put an application to work for a radio station called Sunrise Radio. It's an Asian radio station in Southall. And I worked there for 3 months. And at the time, I was putting in other applications. And I was a massive Sky Sports fan. So I was like, I really want to work for this broadcaster. And at whatever cost, it didn't matter which role I was doing. So when I actually got the job at Sky Sports, I was actually a production runner. So I was the one that was making the teas, the coffees, all of that. So I did start from humble beginnings to moving up to a producer role. So yeah, that was my dream job at the time. So I was so excited to work there.
Okay, and for those that aren't aware, can you kind of give them a rundown of the things that you do currently?
The things that I'm doing at the moment? Okay, so I worked at Sky Sports for almost 16 years, and I left at the end of February. And now I am pursuing a career in modeling. My sister has a jewelry business called Super Diva Jewelry. And I was in Dubai recently doing some modeling for her. So I'm one of the brand ambassadors for her company. I've also transitioned into hosting and keynote speaking as well. And I've got some other things bubbling in the background that I haven't announced yet. So when the time is right, I will let you know.
Got you. So, I just wanted to give everyone a little bit more background on all the other things that you're doing because, I read up on these things, but I just wanted to give everyone else a little bit more background on that too. But getting back to more of the producing as well, how did you, when is the moment you knew you kind of like, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be?
That's a tough question, actually. I kind of feel like I've always been a quite creative person. I was a really creative child. I liked art. I was always the ones that wanted to go to art galleries, those kind of things, and the way that things were put together in terms of like production, movies, radio. So in terms of me knowing where I wanted to be, I wouldn't say it was a kind of moment. I kind of feel like I've always known that I wanted to move into the creative scene. So I'd say that that's probably just something that I've always had since I was a child.
Got you. Okay, we do have a question from the This Woman Works inbox from the Not Blend show. He has a question for you. It says, what is your favorite sport to cover and why? Also, have you ever covered the sport of drag racing?
That's so funny about drag racing. No, I haven't covered drag racing, but motorsport is my favorite sport and Formula One. So when I was at Sky Sports, I had the opportunity to work with the Sky Sports F1 team. And I collaborated and worked with them in 2021 at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And that was the race that Lewis Hamilton should have won his 8th Formula One title, but was denied on the last lap after the rules was changed, let's say. So Max Verstappen ended up winning his maiden title. And that was a lot of controversy. So as a massive Lewis Hamilton 1 fan, for me to see that live and then have to then go straight into producer mode, it was very difficult because it was live TV at the time. And yeah, it was obviously great in terms of the spectacle as, a neutral, but as somebody that likes Lewis Hamilton and wanted him to break Michael Schumacher's record of 7 titles, yeah, it was a tough one to take.
Definitely understand. Lewis Hamilton is definitely he is like the LeBron of the moment, or the Michael Jordan of that sport as well. So I totally understand, and I do keep an eye on him because of course he pops up from time to time over here, and we look and well, okay, there he goes. Then you see him racing and things like that too. So yeah, I can definitely understand that moment there. Now, of course, I want to find out, of course, everything is not always roses and flowers and things like that. There's always other moments as well that come along. I'm going to kind of ask a little bit more about that. But first, we have one more commercial break on This Woman Works.
A shift. A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
All right, and we are back on This Woman Works with Charlene Gravesande. And like I mentioned before the break, we were talking about, of course, all the great things and everything not being, flowers and roses. For those that are watching, roses are in the background of the actual show. But what were some tough times? I know, there's got to be some tough times that probably encountered while you're, producing and being in journalism as well. Can you tell me about some of those times?
Yeah, well, I don't think your listeners and viewers will be quite surprised that, in sport, there isn't many people that look like me. So in terms of women, it's very few and far between. But in terms of Black women, so when I left Sky Sports in February of this year, I think, if I am not wrong, I was the only Black woman on the production team as a producer. And that's across the whole of Sky Sports, not just Sky Sports News, where I was predominantly working. So it's very difficult because, walking around a newsroom where you don't see people looking like you, people that you feel that can have your back, advocate for you, when there's issues that happen that predominantly, affect Black women, you've got really no one to turn to. So those times were quite difficult. And the reason I said that I feel like I've got resilience like Shakira Richardson is because I've had to have that backbone. I think for people from the Black community, I've always been told you need to work 10 times as hard in order to even be considered on the same level as your white peers. And I kind of feel like during my career, I've always had to go above and beyond. There's certain times where I feel like I didn't get opportunities that I feel like I would have got if I was not Black. Even if I was working at a higher level, your viewers won't and listeners won't know, but I am a multi-award winning producer. I've won countless things, been nominated right up until I left. So my last day was the 29th of February. And even after that, I was at an award show even well after I had left. So I think like 2 or 3 weeks after I left, I was still representing the company. I was nominated for the UK Black Tech Achievement Awards and the Inspirational Woman of the Year. I was a finalist for that. Unfortunately, I didn't win. But yeah, so I kind of feel like I've always gone above and beyond in my career, and I've always excelled and be a high achiever. But I feel like for whatever reason, I don't feel like I got the opportunities that I feel like others got.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And what you did mention how you overcame that. How did you kind of overcome that in terms of your feelings or deal with those different things as you continue to march on in the career that you want to achieve?
I think it's got to do with how I was brought up. My mum was always quite a resilient woman. She had 2 jobs, constantly telling us, you need to, like I said, work as hard or if not harder than your white counterparts. And I kind of feel like I was never, ever going to give up and allow people to take away my dream. Walking into spaces, like I say, that aren't predominantly, that people that don't look like me, it was difficult. But at the same time, like I say, I was quite determined that I knew that I deserved to be there. My achievements and my, accolades said I deserved to be there. And if anybody felt uncomfortable about it, that was their issue, not mine.
Right. So I just want to ask this one question as well, and then we'll go into the speed round. There's plenty of women, especially Black women, that do want to produce, do want to get behind the scene, do want to, do all the different things that you're doing and be a multi-award-winning producer like you. So what is some advice you would have for them if they're looking to jump into this business as well?
I would say networking is your net worth. I think people underestimate the beauty of networking. Since I've left, I've gone to a whole host of different events and met so many different people that I wouldn't usually interact with in terms of, an everyday walk of life. There's so many individuals that I even met at an event. I was at a Snapchat event yesterday and I met a load of people that I've connected with. So yeah, networking is definitely your net worth. I'd also say draw into your community, not necessarily people that are in the same industry as you, especially with Black women. You probably won't be, have a lot of people within the sports industry if that's where they want to go, or in the production industry in general. But join to the community in terms of your friends and family. Keep quite a close-knit circle, people that you can rely on and trust, because there will be difficult times when, it's been loads of times I've come home crying because something's happened at work. You need those people that are going to build you up. And then the last thing I probably would say would be authenticity and being true to who you really are and knowing what you really want. I think we kind of don't give enough credit for our uniqueness, and that's your superpower. I kind of feel like, the question that I got asked in terms of drag racing, obviously I'm into Formula One and motorsport, and I felt that was my niche, because quite a lot of sport within the UK is surrounded by predominantly to do with football. But I found a sport where not many people were talking about it. And then ever since the Netflix Drive to Survive, Formula One has just absolutely, become quite huge, especially in the US with them adding Miami and Vegas. They obviously had Texas before. So yeah, just know who you are. And I think people always say that's really simple, but getting to know exactly what your goals are and just going for it. Be unapologetically yourself and don't allow anybody to kind of like deter you from your dream.
Gotcha. Some great words from Charlene Gravesande. And of course, I want to thank you for coming on the show and actually, I guess bringing us into your world and how you made it to where you are. Again, a multi-award winning producer over across the pond, I should say. I like saying across the pond. But anyway, multi-award winning producer over across the pond. I mean, thank you again for your time. But of course, we always end the show with a speed round. It's 10 questions. Let's see. It's basically kind of, I guess, random questions. Of course, So are you ready for these 10 questions?
As ready as I'm going to be.
Okay, the first one's going to be fun. Who would play you in a biopic of your life?
Do you know what? I know this one off the top of my head because I've got asked this before in an interview. And I think I would say Viola Davis. Like, I probably could just say her name and leave it there, but I will obviously elaborate. I think her drive, her tenacity, her resilience, she's everything that I feel like I want to be. Just even her, like her, all of her accolades and all of her achievements is brilliant, but how she carries herself. I follow like her on social media. Her page is, if people aren't following Viola Davis, I strongly, recommend you follow her page. She's got things that are, educational, political, but funny. She's got a really good sense of humor about her as well. And I just love her. So yeah, Viola Davis.
Okay. Definitely a good one. I actually on my other show I actually asked someone to pick between her and Angela Bassett one time. So that was a nice fun one.
I think it would still be better though for me.
Best sporting event that you have worked on?
It have to be the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in 2021. Not only for the controversy, but that ended up winning a BAFTA as well. So I'd have to be the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Okay. All right. Best vacation spot you've been to?
Oh gosh, that's tricky. It's between two. So this year I was traveling in Australia. So I was there for 6 weeks and I loved it. But at a push, I probably would have to say Malaysia. My sister got married there in 2015. And It's just so beautiful. The people, the food, the beaches, you name it. It's just such a lovely place to go. So yeah, it would have to be Malaysia. Okay.
All right. Favorite actress? And of course, that's Viola Davis, probably, right?
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite type of music?
Oh, that's a great question. Because of the season that I'm in at the moment, I'd probably have to say gospel because it's got me through a lot of hard times. And if we're asking a favorite song, within gospel would probably have to be Marvin Sapp's "Never Would Have Made It." Yeah, because that really got me through some difficult times. So yeah, gospel.
Yeah, that song definitely is out there. You know me, I would probably say neo soul because I was in college when Music Soul Child and Jill Scott and Erykah Badu and all of them were getting really popular. Yeah, I was in college when that happened. So yeah, I would say
yeah. No, I like neo soul as well. No, I like that as well. But yeah, gospel at the moment. I think it changes depending what season I'm in. But yeah,
right.
At the minute. Yeah.
It definitely changes with the seasons for sure. Let's see. So, who's your favorite music artist of all time?
Of all time. Oof. Just because this album is timeless and I can play it now without any skips, I'd probably have to say Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
Because of the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, you know, one and done album, but I just feel like it had everything. You know, she can rap, she can sing, it had highs and lows, and the fact that it's timeless and I can play it now is, yeah, I have to say Lauryn Hill.
It's funny, I think some of those songs are about Wyclef that actually.
Yes. But even so, they're still great songs.
Yeah. They still are. Okay. What's the best food you ever had? The most memorable food you've ever had?
Most memorable food I've ever had. So I don't get in trouble with my mom's cooking. Some good Jamaican food. Probably, what's her best dish? I'm just trying to think. She does great oxtail, and curry chicken as well. So yeah, it would have to be my mom's cooking. I haven't going to come on here and say anything else.
All right. Who was growing up? Who was your idol or icon that you looked to?
My mom. It's not even going to be a celebrity. It's going to be somebody that's, you know, I could actually reach and tangible that I could touch. You know, she's been through a lot, and for her to raise 6 very, very successful women, yeah, it's got to be my mom. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. What's something no one would expect to know about you?
Oh, wow. No one would expect to know about me. I'd say I kind of feel like this is out there kind of a bit anyway, but people probably wouldn't know just by knowing me because I'm from the UK. But when it comes to football, I don't support England. And it's going to be very controversial now. I actually support them. Yeah, it's going to be really, even when I tell people, they're shocked and they're like, how dare you? But my last name is actually Dutch. So before, I don't even know how many years or centuries it was, my last name is actually Van Dutch. So I've got Dutch heritage. So I actually lean more into supporting the Netherlands. And I was actually in Germany for the Euros last week for the France-Netherlands game and with my Netherlands jersey on. So yeah, something that people wouldn't kind of know about me.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And what is the best advice you've ever received?
Ooh, best advice I've ever received. I think it's similar to what I said earlier about keeping my circle small, honing in onto community and asking for help. I think in my lowest seasons, asking for help is what got me through. So I think best advice would be ask for help. I'm a person that constantly wants to be the hero in saving situations, and you know, getting people to help you it's not a weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. So yeah, asking for help.
Gotcha. So essentially, stop being the strong friend and being the friend that actually needs the help, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
Gotcha. Okay, well, that's the speed round. We are all wrapped up. I want to thank you again, Ms. Charlene Gravesande, for being a guest on this show. Can you tell everyone where they could find you or where they can find any things that you're working on maybe social media or these internet streets?
Yeah, so as I've kind of like vaguely mentioned, I'm doing some stuff behind the scenes. So hopefully I will put that out into the world in the near future. But you usually can catch me on LinkedIn. That's my platform that I find a lot better than the other platforms. So it's just my name, Charlene Gravesande. And then my Instagram is Miss_underscore Charlene Monique, Charlene Angelique. So.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, again, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. Of course, people don't know, I'm the host of the show. My name is Mike Patton. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Mike Patton 82. It's MikePatton 82. You can find me on Instagram and Threads at that's THA, not THE, _general_MP. This Woman Works, you can find on YouTube with the Mike Patton Network, as well as you can find it on Spotify. We're still working on trying to get it on other places if Apple and all those other places would stop hating on the podcast. Stop hating, we'd be all right. But
it's coming
yeah,
soon. Mike, have faith. It's coming soon.
Yeah, we're exchanging messages now, and I'm looking at them like, hey, I need y'all to kind of get this going. But hopefully soon, like you said. But of course, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to this episode of This Woman Works. We're out. Peace.
Thank you.